Morning came. Toast steamed on the table. Poppy, Bram, and Leela packed what they needed. Poppy tucked her notebook under her arm and left a pencil behind her ear. Bram slung a clattering satchel of tools over his shoulder. Leela carried colored glass and seed packets that chimed as she walked. Their mother waved. The valley glowed like someone had turned on a lamp. They breathed deep and started toward the wide world. They were ready to build homes of their own. They walked into the valley. The grass smelled sweet. Poppy went to a gentle ridge. She sat on a stump and opened her book. She traced careful lines and plans. Bram walked to a stream. He saw driftwood and old gears. He picked up a rusty bolt and smiled. Lila found a hollow under willow branches. She set glass panes on her knees and planted a row of seeds. Each pig could already see their house in their head. The day felt wide and full of plans. Poppy worked at her ridge. She measured twice and cut once. Her hands moved like they knew every step. She tamped the earth and set a neat foundation. She fit beams with tidy dovetails. A nail bent and scratched her skin. She wrapped the cut and did not cry long. She breathed and learned a new joint. Neighbors watched and nodded. Poppy hummed while she worked. Her house grew with straight lines and windows that caught the morning. She liked order and steady work. Bram worked by the stream. He loved odd things. He built with driftwood and old gears. He drew rough plans and muttered to himself. He soldered and tightened bolts. He made pulleys and levers that could fold a roof. Sometimes his shop was messy. Sometimes a screw did not fit. Bram made a new part or changed the idea. He used found stones for strong footings. Rain made the ground soft, but Bram kept building. He liked to invent and see what his hands could do. Leela moved slowly and sang. She wanted a house like a book. She curved doorways and set glass that caught sunsets. She painted sample tiles and planted seeds in neat rows. Birds sat on her scaffolds like small judges. When rain fell, her paint made happy new patterns. Leela stitched fabric and painted trims. She tried colors and tried them again. Her house curved like a shell and glowed at dusk. Leela loved how the world looked through her panes. Her home felt warm and alive. Days passed. Poppy's house rose square and true. The door closed with a good thud. Bram's place hummed with cogs and clever ropes. A pulley minked like a small trick. Lila's home curved and bloomed with color at dusk. Each house showed its maker inside. Poppy's lines were tidy, but left little wild space. Bram's machines were brilliant, but sometimes groaned in rain. Lila's glass was bright and delicate. The valley watched. The three homes were proud and a little fragile. The builders kept checking and fixing as they went. One crisp evening, a tall figure walked the lane. He had a rolled map and a coat with patches. People called him Mr. Bramble. His breath made small clouds. He walked to Poppy's gate and knocked with polite knuckles. Poppy opened the door with sawdust on her apron. She felt her heart beat, but she stood straight. Mr. Bramble spoke in a voice like old wood. He said he traveled to find how houses would stand when tested. He asked if he might try. Poppy agreed. She wanted to learn. Mr. Bramble bowed and said his test. He drew a breath like a small wind. He puffed once, slow and steady. The cottage trembled but did not fall. A loose roof tile shook and dropped. Poppy's jaw tightened. She saw the weak seam and knew what to do. She spoke calmly and said she would add metal flashing and a bracket. The test was not mean. It was a question. Poppy's hands wanted to fix it right away. She felt proud that her house mostly held. Next, Mr. Bramble walked to Bram's workshop. Bram explained his pulleys and braces. The wolf breathed, and the roof strain rose like music. A beam groaned, and Bram put in a brace just in time. Bram's hands moved fast and true. Then Mr. Bramble went to Leela's house. Light broke into colors on the path. He puffed, and the prisms chimed. One small glass panel cracked where an old nick had been. Leela felt a cold hurt in her chest. She knelt and touched the crack. Bram and Poppy came right away with tools. They worked without words. Bram made a tiny hinge to carry the stress. Poppy fit a bracket and a strip to hold the frame. Leela painted the joint with a soft sky color and planted rosemary along the seam. They fixed the crack together and the house shone again. The wolf watched and did not smile with triumph. He looked tired but kind. When the repairs were done, Mr. Bramble sat on Leela's porch. He folded his map and told them why he came. He said he had lost a shelter once and learned to ask homes how they would stand. He did not mean harm. He wanted to know who built with care. The pigs listened. They taught him to measure and to fit a dovetail. He taught them how to listen to leaves for weather. Weeks passed and the houses learned from the tests. Poppy added extra insulation. Bram built a failsafe for his pulley. Leela made frames that could bend with the wood. Neighbors came to learn. Mr. Bramble tested less like a judge and more like a friend. On a cold night, the 3 pigs watched the wolf walk the lane with rosemary on his pack. They felt warm inside. The valley slept under houses that had been tested and made stronger by care. Neighbors came to see the 3 new houses. They came with small bags and open eyes. Children sat on doorsteps and watched how things fit. Poppy set her notebook on her knee. She showed a clean dovetail and how the pieces lock. She spoke slow and let them touch the wood. Bram let a child turn a tiny screw. He laughed and pointed at a gear and how it moves. Leela handed out seed packets and showed how color makes a corner feel warm. The pigs showed their mistakes too. They told how a cracked pane or a bent nail taught them a new way. People practiced measuring and listening. Hands learned to work with care. The valley felt fuller. The 3 pigs taught, and the valley learned. Mr. Bramble kept visiting. He asked questions with a soft voice. He tested with a gentle puff. His tests were small. They were meant to teach. He began to speak names as he asked. "Did you mean for this to face the sunrise, Leela?" he would say. He huffed like a curious traveler now. Bram watched and learned to make a failsafe. Poppy checked eaves with a new plan. Leela fit a strip of lead and painted the seam. The wolf sat on porches and listened to rain. The pigs taught them their measures, and he taught them to read wind. When he left, he took rosemary tied in twine. They waved as he walked the lane. He smiled like a friend. Winter came soft and white. Snow covered the valley like a slow blanket. The 3 pigs stood by Poppy's yard. Poppy held her leather notebook close. Bram's hands were dark with grease. Lila's cheeks were bright from cold. Smoke rose from 3 chimneys in a quiet line. Mr. Bramble walked the lane once more. He paused and breathed in the warm smoke. He listened to the small house sounds. Wood settling, a pulley settling into place, a garden slug on the step. He smiled as if a long question had been answered. The pigs watched him go. They felt safe in their homes. The valley kept its breath. Night folded the houses into a soft song.